Hi everyone, Don Cochran here from Peter Glenn Ski and Sport. Thank you for joining us today at beautiful Snowmass Village in Aspen, Colorado. I brought a friend of mine today to talk about some crazy ski boot technology. This is my good friend Dano Bruno from Dahu. So Dano, tell me about this amazing boot that you guys have.
Well, thanks kind of for the accolades right off the bat, but yeah, it's a super neat product. I personally think it is revolutionary. Really, probably one of the biggest things about our boot is the way that we kind of build the liner. Is we build it off of a traditional piece of winter footwear. So most people, when they go in right away, they go, wow, it's so comfortable, because you go in and you don't get all of that compression of the foot and the leg shaft like you do in a regular ski boot. And so in theory, right, the boot fitters, oh, don't worry, we'll punch it and grind it and do all that stuff. And with our boot, hopefully you go in and it's super comfortable right off the bat.
So this is a fine Italian footwear, like women's footwear, stitched on that wooden last for a more precise fit without having to modify every one for every individual.
Correct. Exactly right. The liners are stitched on a wooden last. And then, we add different types of materials depending on what level of boot you're coming into. Like at the O1X level, for example, all the EVA foam internally is actually all milled on a 3D CAD milling machine. So it really does give you that very actually aggressive fit. But up through the forefoot, the instep, you don't get that kind of compression feeling.
We also have intuition foam in all of these liners, so we can heat mold them for a more precise fit, correct?
Correct. It is a heat moldable EVA foam.
Excellent.
And it's in different areas, from the ankles, the outside or lateral ankle, the medial ankle. You'll see it through the forefoot, through the instep, and also throughout the tongue.
All right, so next, I'd like you to tell me about the differences of this boot. It kind of looks like something I'm used to, a three-piece shell.
Yep.
Been around in the marketplace for a long time, but yet the closure system is a little different.
It is a little different, and first we'll talk about a three-piece or a cabrio boot. And what we mean by a three-piece boot and what makes it different than a two-piece boot that you generally see, right, quite a bit of, is the tongue part of it. All ski boots, you have the shell or the lower, what we also call in the industry the clog. You have the spine of the boot or the cuff of the boot, and then with a cabrio or three-piece boot, you have that tongue. Which
is where a lot of the flex and the performance comes.
Correct. So what's interesting about a three-piece boot is when you start moving the boot, not only is energy being transferred down through the cuff and through the lateral bands, but also through the tongue to the front of the ski, which is one of the reasons why a lot of times you see three-piece boots, they'll tend to have a little bit more of an upright stance, because you don't need to necessarily be that far forward. It's not to say every skier is an individual, and with our boot or any other boot, you can work around that.
True. So, take what we know, this cabrio three-piece shell.
Mm-hmm.
You and I, our background is high performance, ski racing,
Yep.
ski patrol. You've done boot development for a lot of the big manufacturers. Now, Dahu takes all those technologies, but show me what's different. What's
So,
that button on the back?
What's wonderful, and I like to tell the story, I'm done skiing, and my wife calls and says, honey, I don't have any more pasta for dinner tonight. So what I'll do is I'll simply drop our cuff and pull my liner out and walk into Safeway in my liner and pick up pasta for dinner. And I just put that in my truck.
So this whole shell opens up front and back.
Yep.
For ease of entry. Now you've got a walk boot.
Correct. Totally walkable. And that's also where the last, as I mentioned before, comes out of a traditional piece of winter footwear. It's so easy to walk in. It's designed to bend up. And we have 2 patents on the boot. One of them is related to the sole or the boot board. It's all built in when it connects tri-lock. It's very, very rigid, great snow feel, all of those things.
I've noticed that. It's not something that simply slides in and then you buckle down. There's relief and ridges cut in to the sole of the boot that correspond to the tread on the base of the boot. So it's going to give you traction out of the snow,
Yep.
but also lock you in when you put it in the
Yeah.
shell.
And if you look at the tread, I don't know if you can pick it up on, but it literally looks like a snow tire. And we did that for safety when you're walking. And people go, oh, well, you'll get snow in there. Not really, because it's a snow tire. When the snow tire is rotating, it's expanding and spits out snow. Same thing with the liner.
So we've got great versatility. We have great versatility.
Mm-hmm.
We've got great fit and performance, a fine Italian lasted boot, performance materials in key portions of the boot where you need them.
Correct.
Heat moldability.
Yep.
Ease of entry.
200 gram Primaloft insulation, so very,
very warm.
Which is really,
very
I think,
important.
a big thing, yeah.
Very important. When you engage the rear cuff, you've got this nice bar that transfers all that rearward energy when you want to load up the cuff of the boot and get
Correct.
that jet at the end of the turn. And you've got the progressive flex of this tongue on the front of the boot. So you've got all these really different things about fit and comfort. And then you've got high performance all baked into the package.
Yeah. I mean, that was a really important thing for us. I mean, it might sound funny, but we are skiers, and performance really was at the very top. So how do we kind of do this, but always maintain performance?
Well, somehow you and Dahu have managed to do it. You know, when we went up and ripped some laps in these, you know, I went further and further back, trying to load that thing up, trying to find the end point, was never uncomfortable. It kept me safe. It gave me that power after the end of the turn. Confidence.
Yeah.
Also, the transmission of your energy is so quick turn to turn. You want to put that ski on edge, it rolls immediately.
Yeah, it is. It's a tight interface for sure. And I'll go back to the days when, you know, we were fitting ski boots. In my career, I don't think I ever had anybody come up and say, I want the best skiing ski boot. They usually come up and say, I want the most comfortable ski boot. And then you kind of dial it in. And I know at high performance, when I'm still building boots for athletes, it's let's get the boot comfortable. Let's test it, make sure it is comfortable. And then you really start to kind of dial it in. I talk a lot about like cars. You're an F1 driver. The first thing is your seat that
Let's
gets
make
made.
the seat.
Yeah, and so that's kind of where we're at. And then you figure out where the gas and the brake and the clutch and all the other stuff comes, and that's what dials the car in onto.
Well, I tell you what, you guys have absolutely done it with the Dahu line of boots. You can come get your own pair. Visit us in store at Peter Glen, or come visit us at peterglen.com.